right, welcome back to the channel. Listen, if you're new here, let me tell you what we do here. We discuss market structure, stock options, commodities, and we give beginners, immediate, and/or advanced traders a new way to look at the market. If you ever wondered how to make money in stocks, how to day trade, this is the channel for you. We focus on risk to reward and teaching you guys how to spot out the best opportunities. And right now is the episode 16 of the halftime show, our midweek report. All right, so today we're going to be breaking down the biggest forces moving the stock market. I'm talking earnings, economic data, and the geopolitics, and how these are literally affecting the Qs and SPY. So I'm your host, Coach UV, and if you want trading and investing clarity that most traders miss, hit the like button and subscribe and turn on those notifications right now so you don't miss any of these valuable drops. All right, so enough of the intro. Let's get into the data that really matters. All right. So first off, we're going to check out some of this economic data that we have coming up. All right, here you can see that we have the Wednesday report that came out. All right, the time of this message is 2:32. All right, so 2:32 p.m., a couple of hours before the market closed. And so this data has already came out, and the market had some big moves this morning, but we gave it kind of back, right? A lot of volatility and a lot of swings going on in the market, all right, because we have earnings from companies reporting how much money they made, right? We have economic data like interest rates. What are the Feds going to be doing? And today at 4 o'clock, we have somebody speaking as the market closed. That might affect price. And of course, Thursday and Friday, we have GDP tomorrow, and coming up Friday, we have CPI. And these can be some market movers, guys, all right? Now, remember that non-farm payroll number, it came out today, and it's actually showing 130,000 new jobs. So that's beating expectations and suggesting that the labor market still has some strength. This is huge implication for the Fed's interest rates expectations in the risk assets like SPY and QQQ. And so until that data is released up until Friday, you're going to have a ranging market. And I'm going to show you these charts, right? Because we called out these moves a week or so ago, all right? And this video right here, that video right here, this is the video that we called out. And if you had a chance to check it out, hopefully you made some money. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, all right? You do not want to miss these valuable drops. All right, now Friday's CPI is going to be really important to understand. If it's too hot in the kitchen, stay out. If you're not a day trader and you're only an investor, all right, most financial advisors will tell you, right, risk on or risk off depending on the metrics. And I'm just a mentor and a coach. I'm not a financial advisor. But if you're day trading, you got to be able to understand risk to reward, getting in and getting out. All right, is it a trending market? Is it showing you higher highs and higher lows? Or is it a stagnant market within a range? If so, these are cautious moments. Some people are still buying. They got automatic accounts coming out of their check, going straight to their brokerage accounts to buy fractional shares and/or shares of some of the best ETFs like VTI or VOO. All right, that is what's going on. But if you're a day trader, again, the data that we just talked about is going to affect some price. And so you want to be mindful of that. Either stay away or watch at certain times of the day from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's data that comes out that can affect the price. All right, so that's what you want to understand. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into these high pack earnings that we got. All right, now the SPY is showing some clear signs that the yearly high, which is 691.66, right? This comes from the yearly candle, all right, the yearly time frame, a 12-month candle, and right now we are on a 30-minute. All right, and if you don't understand what candlesticks means in time frame, I'll briefly tell you if you're new to the channel. Right, each one of these candlesticks on this 30-minute, right, this is a 30-minute time frame. I know self-explanatory for the word time frame. If we're on a 30-minute chart, then these candles represents 30 minutes of time each candle. All right, and the candlestick has 4 metrics, right? Once it opens up, it has an opening price, it has a high price, a low price, and a closing price. All right, check out my beginner video section down in the playlist. All right, subscribe to the channel and check out that beginner playlist for those who are new. But for those who have been watching, again, thank you. All right, so this is the crux of what's going on. Yeah, earnings from Coca-Cola, Ford, CVS, Cisco, McDonald's, T-Mobile. These are all going to be Friday, but we did have some big ones over the previous days. All right, we had Cloudflare. All right, ticker symbol NET. Let's check out NET. All right, and we're going to double back over to SPY. All right. Now, Cloudflare did pretty good. They blew earnings out of the water. Every 3 months, company has earnings and they report them. They reported yesterday after the bell. They shot from 179 all the way up to around 205. Now, there were some price targets raised on this company in the 200s, all right? But we have to hold above 190, and we are teetering with that right now at 2:36 p.m. on a Wednesday, all right? So we got to see some continued strength. This is something that people hold long term. Cloudflare, NET, ticker symbol NET. This company is like the middle grounds for the internet. So you guys watching the internet, you're using internet and a computer. They're the ones protecting it, making it faster, right? I say that briefly, so do your research on those, all right? Now, why is this important? Some of these earnings as we double back to SPY. It's important because strong consumer names like Coke or McDonald's, they affect the consumer sentiment and SPY's performance. Like heavy tech, Cisco, T-Mobile, Impacts, QQQ. Forward guidance for these companies. Do we expect more revenue? Do we expect some sort of headwinds, all right? And a growth narrative. Earning surprises, right? So upside or downside can change the index flows in minutes. I'm talking minutes. And so right now, as you can see in front of us, we have some strength in SPY. And without me getting all technical first, right, giving you guys a breakdown, we are above some of these same numbers that I gave out previously on previous videos. 691.66 is the demand on the yearly. 691.97 are the previous monthly close number, right? And so we are above it for right now, showing strength within a range, all right, touching all-time highs. And we are within a monthly range. That's what we are in right now, okay? And so as long as we stay above this 21, we can see continuation towards the upside, but this is not a lot of risk. A lot of traders are waiting for a breakout trade, all right? And we're trying to get to all-time highs, new all-time highs, and that's not typically just going to happen overnight. So it's going to take a catalyst, earnings. Some people are weary of earnings, right? There could be some bad reports and some good reports. And so it makes the stock market very volatile. And you see these swings like this that you wouldn't normally see on regular stocks, but you're going to see that during earnings season. And that's what you have here. And so the best risk to reward was down here at these double bottoms where we said that price would come back to. We spoke about that. We spoke about price coming back to retest these levels. And ever since then, guys, we've been just doing V bottoms. All right. That's what we're doing here. V bottoms. And so see, V bottom reversal. All right. All right. We got a pullback here. Price got bought up. And now we have another pullback here that we talked about, all right, hitting that same demand zone. Now, here's what you want to think about. On the SPY, those who are watching and staying tuned, if you want to make some money, the best risk to reward and how to think about this is that we have a level of demand right here, all right? That level of demand means a whole lot. If we break below this level here, then we will continue to break down and retest some of these lows, all right? Remember that 691.66 has to hold. All right. And 690 has to hold as a place of demand in order for us to see continuation. We do have some continuation as far as momentum towards the upside, and we do have earnings and economic data. And sometimes with just a couple of days left within the week, there's something called an option chain within the market. All right. Market makers, the ones who control the orders, they're not going to let certain strikes win. So you have to wait for volatility and that pressure to subside. Friday at 3:30 when the economic data comes out for the COT report, you guys will have a video for that over the weekend. So you guys will have a upstart and an advantage on where price is going for the SPY, the Qs, and or Bitcoin and crypto. All right, so stay tuned for that later video in the week. Now, again, the key economic data that's behind us. All right, SPY, we still above previous open, previous close. We're showing some demand. All right, we do have earnings after the bell today. Time of this recording right now is 2:40. The market closed at 4 p.m. So we do have some earnings. Now, the geopolitical forces that are moving the market this week isn't just about the numbers. It's about real world politics. All right, it's impacting the risk appetite. All right, whenever this data is coming out, sometimes people want to sit to the sideline. All right, you got Japan market surging on an historic electrical victory. You got Ukraine preparing for potential elections and the peace redundums. Right, the referendums we have coming out for them. We also have the U.S. dollar that is weakening due to geopolitical risk. All right, you can check out the dollar. All right, check out this dollar here. All right, this is the halftime show, episode 16. Hope you guys are enjoying. All right, giving you some guidance on these tickers. Look for the dollar to stay within this range. All right, the shifts in the foreign demand is impacting the dollar. And it can push commodities and international equities higher, which changes sector leadership and influences QQQ and the SPY. All right, so these are all things that are important. All right, so what about market sentiment? We're going to switch over to the Qs. All right, we're going to switch over to the Qs. Now, if you can see this chart, all right, I dropped a video that we talked about in the beginning of this video, and we said that the Qs were looking pretty weak and that we can see some downside towards these same numbers. And we got that double bottom bounce, right? You see here. I'm going to move the chart over. All right. And what you see is you see a technical bear trap. All right. The bears try to bring the price down once and then twice. OK, which makes a W shape. All right. Where's the 1 and the 2? All right. Number 1 is right here. OK, that's number 1 right there. And number 2 is right here. These are your pivot points. All right. Price stopped right there. OK, let the bears try once and let them try twice. That is the whole point. All right, the W shape that you're looking at is this. All right, this is called a double bottom right here. A double bottom on the end, these two ends here, this bottom here. All right, price bounced from there. All right, people traded and bought towards the upside, and what did we do? We continued towards the upside, and we came back to retest. Now, anytime I see price going up like this, right, I never ever want to chase. What you want to do is you want to catch the parallel channel like we have here. You want to catch a pullback, and today we got a major sell-off after a pop-up and made a high, and we sold off and price got bought back up, and this here is creating a higher low. All right, a higher low. All right, what is a higher low? Okay, let me show you. Bear with me as I navigate this screen. Okay, this is a higher low for those who are new that are watching and are not familiar with trading terms. All right, it's all about a trend and structure. Okay, it's all about trend and structure. Okay, now you see this pivot point here. Now, once price moved up and it fell some, it failed to go all the way back down here. That's showing strength. See right here? See right here? It's showing some strength towards the upside. We came back and we fell again, but we failed to breach that last pivot point. These are what you call higher lows and higher high sequence, a trend up. And the opposite would be a trend down. All right, you see a series of lower lows and lower highs. It failed to go back up. It continues to go back down. All right, that's what you want to see. You guys understand? Okay, cool. Now let's take this off of the chart. Now that you see that W shape and you see the parallel channel, this is what we have within a downtrend. Now we are still creating lower highs. And until we break over this trend right here, the market structure is still down. And since we have earnings and prices above 21 right now, on the Qs, and we're still holding above the 21 on the 1 hour, I do see some market rotation back up to these highs to fill these gaps here. All right, that's what I'm looking for, to fill these gaps towards these prices of 625 and 620. All right, within that range. Okay, but from there, we do not know. We have to wait and see if some strength will decide to continue, or will we continue to sell off because of what's going on in the sector. All right, so what do all these pieces mean for you in trading? If the unemployment remains strong, but inflation refused to cool, right? We got great job report, right? But inflation numbers are coming Friday. That means we have 2 days. Market can stay within this range up into 2 days until that data is released. The growth stocks, they might lag. Critical plays find rotation. That's what we got to do, right? And we'll see the sector divergence between QQQ and SPY. You're going to know whether the Qs are stronger or SPY is stronger. That's something that just cannot be denied. All right, it cannot be denied. And we're going to hop over here to the SPY so you guys can see the chart as we're reading along. All right, these numbers are still existing. Okay, We have a hour and 15 minutes left in the market. Now, to catch you up to speed, inflation. Now, again, if inflation surprises soft and geopolitical tensions ease, then the tech and the growth resume. Leadership and QQQ trends upward strongly. We got to see that number Friday, all right? Remember, Friday is the number that we're looking for, all right? This week is a pivot point, so pay attention to how markets react to data prints relative to expectations, not just the headlines. We want to check the price action. And I want to encourage all you guys who are watching and listening is that if you're day trading, if you have a brokerage account, right? Fidelity, Webull, Moomoo, Thinkorswim, any of these brokerage accounts that you have, they're there for you to use to invest in a trade, but it's not there for you to just stow your money anywhere and just click some buttons. It's always about risk to reward. I want to stress that, is that it's always about risk to reward. And you don't have to trade every day. Every day does not have to be a trading day, especially if there's no volume in your stock and there's no follow through. All right, you can sit it out. All right, remember that sometimes the best trade is really no trade. All right, so listen, I want to give you guys some practical trade ideas before we get out of here. Now, we do have some gaps to the downside. Okay, these gaps present opportunity if we can fall below these numbers here. But as long as we above, all right, we need to see price get below the 21 and below this previous demand level in order for us to see downside. And look out for the video I have for you guys Friday, all right? The SPY Insider Leak, the COT report. It's going to reveal where those banks are. That's what you want to think about. Now let's go over to Tesla before we wrap this video up. All right, Tesla had an amazing pump. All right, we also talked about this in our video last week about how Tesla was kind of weak and that we could see lower prices. We got those prices, guys, and prices got bought right back up to create another double bottom. Right, this is similar to SPY's double bottom, the W shape, the 1 try and 2 try. Remember, and now we have that same thing here on Tesla, and Tesla has to stay above the 21. Okay, it has to stay above the 21. We need to see where it closes at, but I think we're trying to rotate higher, right? The Qs has taken a dump. Tesla is part of the QQQs, and we have this big jump down, all right? And sometimes price likes to retrace back to a range again, right? We haven't got to that point, just like it did here. Just like it did here, guys. And it took a couple of weeks, couple of days, okay? Couple of months, couple of days, couple of weeks. Long-term trading, buying leaps, going out to 2027 and 2028 if you can afford Tesla and/or TSLL, which is a cheaper version of Tesla. All right, let's check out TSLL. All right, we need to see what the market does and closes today in order to see whether or not we want to trade towards the upside. Remember that report comes out at 3:30 Friday, and today is Wednesday. And so you don't have to trade. You don't have to swing trade. You could just watch. If you don't like what price is, if you believe in a company and you want to buy shares, that's a different story. Is it cheap? Is it relatively cheap? All right, we are still showing weak signs, and we have not broke structure yet. We have to close above these numbers in order to see upside continuation. And this is TSLL, a cheaper version. It looks just like Tesla, so I wanted to throw you guys this little tad bit of information. It's cheaper if you can't really afford Tesla. I know that sometimes I hear that a lot, that Tesla is too high and people can't afford it. So there you go. That is TSLL. Now back to Tesla. Now we are on the day chart. Now, Tesla's video I put out months ago was stating that Tesla's yearly chart is insane. It looks insane, all right? And, of course, people chase these stocks. And once you chase stocks, traders come in and chase, they see a big movement up, and they don't have a trading plan. It's going to be really, really tough for them to really make some money when you're chasing, all right? But we see those as opportunity, and we want to take advantage of those opportunities. And so Tesla is still struggling here on the 1 hour time frame. We have to get above the point of control. If we can get above these prices here, 535, we got to reclaim 535 and hold strong in order to see some upside continuation. Other than that, we will be retesting these lows. There could be a possible inverse head and shoulders here, but we got to see. Like I said, the higher time frame is showing clear signs here on the daily that we could be going towards the upside. So we have the opposite of what we had the last time. We have a little bit of bullish momentum, a little bit of demand here, all right? And on the smaller time frames, it's a little bit shorter bearish, right? And so you got to wait for those entries, and you have to be patient enough to understand what you're doing and what is the best risk to reward when it comes to trading these stocks. Okay, what you want to do is you want to find the demand levels on a chart. You want to find out where price has been before. All right, this is the halftime show, guys. Come on, demand level. See, price has been here before, finally breaks out this morning. That's exactly what happened. We hit that cluster here, and Tesla fell. Some folks made a lot of money this morning. All right, and so do you think we could be rotating back towards the upside here? You think that's possible? Ask yourself that question. Is that possible for us to be rotating back? Okay. Because if we don't hold these prices here by the end of close, Tesla will continue to tank back down here to fill some of these gaps. We have to hold above here, and we could possibly reject here around 437, 435 again. We got to reclaim these levels, but price could shoot up here overnight. You know how these things go. Right now, let me show you this fear and greed index. Right now, we are sitting at neutral 50. All right, right dead slab in the middle. Okay. And there's no fear, there's no greed. It's literally in the middle. All right. And so right now we have a balanced market. We're in between. And this would explain price. We're waiting on data. We're waiting on earnings. Period. All right. So keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. Seriously, guys, keep your alerts on. Watch the high impact data timestamps, all right, on forexfactory.com. That's www.forexfactory.com. This is the website here. You want to check out that data tomorrow. Data comes out at 8:30 before we even trade, if you're trading the 9:30 Eastern time frame. But at 9:30, we have the CB leading index. 10 o'clock, we have existing home sales. All right. And so at 10 o'clock, if you're trading SPY, watch how price reacts to the data. I'm Coach UV. Thanks for watching this halftime show. Wanted to give you an update on the Qs, SPY, and Tesla, just for you guys to see the accuracy of the group and what we talked about. Go back and check the videos. Subscribe to the channel. Get familiar with the lingo and check out the beginner section I have for trading terms. If you're new here, we have a plethora of information for you, and I'm here for you guys. I really do appreciate you stopping by and listening if you're new, all right? And if you've been here with me rocking out for months and years at a time, I appreciate you guys. So if you got any value from this breakdown, hit the like button right now. Comment below which number or which stock you want to see, if this was helpful at all. I talk back and engage. And if you think you'll move the market most next week, all right, with this information, all right, let's make some money together. If I make some money, don't be shy. All right, subscribe if you want real market breakdowns. And down below in that link, we have a one-on-one coaching program and/or Discord to join a thriving community. All right, join a private community for serious traders only. All right, turn on those bell notifications. You do not want to miss another drop. Appreciate you guys' time. Again, this is the Unique Trading Group, where strategy meets mindset and discipline turns into income. And I see you guys in the next one. Peace.